Kawhi went 16 of 22 from the field, made 13 free throws. All right, Nick, how impressive was Kawhi's night last night?
He was great. His career high, as you mentioned, only the third time in his career he's gotten to 40 points, which is surprising. He had the Kobe Bryant Memorial stat line, 45 points, 1 assist. So that's nice as always. If he had been more available through the first half of this season, he's played 30 of 39 games, he'd be right there with Giannis as far as the leading MVP candidates, with Harden making a push. He's been great. The Raptors have been as good, if not better, than anyone expected.
Yeah, I don't know if this trade with the Spurs could have worked out any better for the Raptors. I mean, they're right there. I mean, second best record in basketball. It's a really good basketball team, and Kawhi Leonard has responded in this trade. He's been exactly what that Raptors team is needed.
All right, moving on to the Lakers. LeBron's been ruled out for tonight's game against the Thunder. This will be the 4th game he's missed since injuring his groin last week. Lakers are 1-2 without the King so far. Nick, does this team look different, that much different without LeBron?
Oh, it looks drastically different without him, but they've been able to tread water at this point. They could be 0-3. They could be 2-1. 1-2 is probably what they should be. I expect them to lose tonight, and I expect LeBron not to play in their next home game, which is against the Knicks. It'll be interesting, though. They have a short little road trip at Minnesota and at Dallas. Is he going to be back for that, or is this absence going to extend into 6, 7, 8 games? That's something to watch. I know you think they just need to not rush him back.
Yeah, they can't rush him back, and as long as this team stays right at 500, maybe a game or two above, then I think it's fine. I don't think they insert LeBron James back into the lineup until he's fully healthy, unless this team starts to go on a 3 or 4 game slide.
All right, last night, Urban Meyer coached his last game for Ohio State in their Rose Bowl win over Washington. Quarterback Dwayne Haskins put on a show. Tossed 3 touchdowns, threw for 251 yards. Our own Cris Carter was there, tweeted that he's certain Haskins is heading to the NFL. Chris Canty, what'd you make of Haskins' day yesterday?
Well, I thought he had an outstanding performance, and he solidified himself as the #1 quarterback in this draft class, potentially the #1 overall pick. I mean, being able to, on that stage, play that well and show off the full complement of his skills, I just think that Dwayne Haskins is in a situation where you'll see a lot of NFL teams trying to get to the top of the draft to give themselves an opportunity to select him. You always have about 5 or 6 teams that are looking for a quarterback. This year, everybody's going to be looking to put themselves in position to get Dwayne Haskins.
If he declares, Ohio State's going to have the top 2 players on a lot of teams' boards, in Dwayne Haskins and Nicky Bosa. And so that, obviously a quarterback and a pass rusher. I think it has been really impressive the way he has skyrocketed in the last month. The Maryland game, he carried them to a close win, playing outstanding. He was brilliant against Michigan, excellent in the Big Ten championship game, and basically put this Rose Bowl game away after 3 quarters. Now, they couldn't hold on for the cover. Thanks a lot, Ohio State. But aside from that, he's without question the #1 player on the board.
Yeah, he broke Drew Brees' Big Ten touchdown record.
It's unbelievable.
Say no more.
Moving on to the Giants now. Hard to pull a ton of positives out of this season. They finished the year with 5 wins. It was 2 more wins than the year before, so that's a positive, I guess. Odell Beckham Jr. had an up-and-down year, battling an aging quarterback and battling an injured quad. Reports today the 49ers would be interested in taking Odell if the Giants were willing to move him. Nick, should Big Blue listen to trade offers for OBJ?
Yes. And that's not an indictment on Odell.
Sure.
It's just a testament to where the Giants are. They are still stuck in neutral, if not slightly in reverse, at the quarterback position. And I know Odell signed that contract knowing Eli was the quarterback. I don't think he signed the contract believing Eli was going to be the quarterback next season in addition to this season. And you have to look at where the Giants have needs, which is at every level of the defense. Remember, I thought their best front 7 defender, Damon Harrison, they traded him away. The guy in Eli Apple, who obviously had been very underwhelming as a Giant, but a former first-round pick, they trade him away. Like they are rebuilding defensively, even if they don't want to admit it. They've got 2 A-plus players, a wide receiver and a running back. But those are 2 positions that have limited impact if you don't have a quarterback, if you don't have an offensive or defensive line. And so you talk about San Francisco. If San Francisco calls me and I'm Dave Gettleman and says, we got the #2 pick of the draft. We're not trading you multiple first-round picks, but we will trade you the #2 pick of the draft for Odell Beckham Jr., and that's how they can go get Dwayne Haskins. That's how they can really start the next era of Giants football. Of course I'm going to listen. I wouldn't be in a rush to trade him. I wouldn't trade him for a 3rd and a 5th, something like that. But when Amari Cooper goes for a 1 that at the time looked like it was going to be a top 12 pick, I know it's not now, what's Odell Beckham Beckham Jr. worth. I think you have to listen because of where the Giants are as a franchise and the needs, not just at quarterback, but at offensive line and all over that defense.
I agree that you have to listen, but I'm right there with you in terms of not being in a hurry to let him go and the compensation having to be a haul. I mean, if you're talking about moving up from 6 to 2 and putting yourself in better position to get the successor for Eli Manning, it makes sense. But here's where it doesn't make sense for me. You drafted Saquon Barkley with the 2nd overall pick last year. The only reason that you didn't take a quarterback and that you went with a running back is because you thought you already had a quarterback. So Odell signed that contract thinking that Eli Manning would be better in 2018 and 2019 because you have the balance of a running game. And that's where we kind of disagree, because I don't think that Odell went into this situation when he signed a deal thinking that he'd have a new quarterback in 2019. I just don't think anybody imagined it being as bad as it was this year for the Giants. And so moving forward, I can understand you deciding to move on from Odell if that nets you the next franchise quarterback. But you also have a running back in Saquon Barkley that you can't take full advantage of if you don't have Odell out there to dictate fronts and coverages. So I think it's a balancing act if you're Dave Gettleman. Now, the benefit that the Giants have is that it is a very tradable contract. You're talking about a $16 million cap hit if you trade him versus a $21 million cap hit if he's on your team. So you actually do save some money, and it's a contract that would be team friendly for the next club in terms of yearly cash that they'd have to pay him. But if I'm the Giants, I don't know that I'd be in a hurry to do this deal.
I want to clarify one thing I said, because right as I said it, I realized that I don't necessarily agree with what I was saying. When I said Odell signed the deal thinking about who the quarterback's going to be, I think Odell signed the deal because who's not going to sign the deal?
Like, he was facing his career mortality.
He had just coming off an injury. He wasn't going to hit. If he turns the deal down, guess what the Giants do? They franchise and they go. You don't turn down long-term deals in the NFL. So I think he maybe was hoping that they would get a new quarterback, but I think he was signing the deal because the Giants are the only team that can offer him a deal. It's not like he was a true free agent, had an opportunity to pick amongst teams. But Odell lasted 3 games last year before his frustration boiled over and did that interview that everyone flipped out about. I don't think Odell is going to be the best soldier if Eli continues to deteriorate and if the team's not good. And so I do think
what else do you think is on the table to happen that he's going to Eli wasn't having a bad season because of anything other than Eli for the most part.
Right. No, I just don't think Eli is going to get better. And I think it can be a very... I think wide receivers can feel almost defenseless if they feel like I'm open. I'm open. I'm doing my job, and you're not looking to me. You're not delivering me the football. And for all the good things Odell brings, what we know is he's not the best at keeping his emotions in check. He's not the best at hiding how he's feeling. And so I don't think you would expect in 2019 that to all of a sudden get better unless the team gets better. It's one of the reasons I would listen. I'm not calling teams. I'm not initiating the phone calls. But if a team calls me, I'm going to listen. Every player on the Giants is on the block except for Saquon, really. And it's only because with Saquon, you can't get equitable value because you just spent the 2nd overall pick on him, and he's been fantastic.
Fantastic.
But everyone should be available for the Giants because they're not close. Right. That's the thing, is that's what we learned. Yeah. When they drafted Saquon, they said, we're close. You're not. Don't double down on the mistake just because you made that one.
All right, let's move on to the New England Patriots. Not their best season, not their best Gronk, not their best Brady,